band recording. So about a month or so ago, I reacted to a Japanese band called Versailles, a song by the name of Ascended Master. Since then, I've actually had a couple of different requests to do more by them. So I'm going to be doing a live version of The Love from a Dead Orchestra. And I believe I made a mistake last time. In the first song I reacted to by them, I assumed that they had a female guitar player. The dude was just dressed in like drag, like he was dressed in like one of those 18th century, like Victorian England, like bodices with the big, like hip thing. So no women in this band apparently. Go. Chateau de Versailles.
バラを愛する者たちよ、私たちは短美派、美を求めるバラのマスは、さあ人々の心の醜さを共に殺めよう。同志たちよ、腕を上げろ。
I'm gonna give it a quick pause since he's transitioning to some screaming. I hope I can be forgiven for thinking that the guitarist was a woman, especially based off the way he's dressed now. Like he comes across as a woman like very easily. Good for him. Good for him. The lead singer, he looks like he's dressed between a cross of David Bowie and Labyrinth and one of the characters from Castlevania. Yeah, like it's a cool sort of Victorian look that the entire band has, and I love the kind of like theme of roses and like the beautifulness of it, but also there's thorns, so there's that little bit. So Love from a Death Orchestra. gonna rewind this a little bit because it sounded like he was going into like a bit of screaming, but I actually really like the quality of his voice, like the timbre. Like it's low enough that it makes like the guitars stand out that much more, and drummers like going off. Let's get back to it.
やってしまうかい
Then when my guitar gently weeps, 落ちてしまうか and give it another pause. Around the 5 minute mark, when the lead singer, went behind the drummer, the transition seemed a little off. It's probably just because it's a live setting, but once the solo kicked in, it sounded like it was a different song. But it's gotten back into the original groove, so it's made its way back to what it was. From what I remember being told, this band is a visual Kai band, I think, which is where the outfits and like performance stuff, the performative quality of this comes into play. So it's more theatrical. So like knowing that, like it's interesting just looking at the way they are like dressed, and if that adds any value to what it is they're doing. And it seems that way with the singer and the drummer. The guitarist also, it makes it seem like unexpected that the sound would come out like that, which is a weird thing to say, especially since there's so many great female guitarists. But like the way his presence is on stage, it's kind of like head down, like shoulders in. So it's kind of like I'm shy, but then all of a sudden the guitar licks come out, and you're like, wow. So more like what's the word I'm looking for? Debonair. As the bass is coming across really cool. I'm assuming that's him with the pauldron, and then the other guitarist, I can't quite make out everything that he's playing. And I think he's dressed in like a Day of the Dead lady kind of makeup too. So it's cool. Like everything about the presentation of this is like really interesting. Let me go back a couple seconds.
Why do people cherish loneliness? Light is not to be found, it is to be created. Dark is not to be feared, it is to be loved.
Why do we love 孤独さえ愛さなければ醜くならないのに
I feel like he's in a ballroom doing a soliloquy. That's the guitar. So I confused the bassist. So I confused the bassist with the second guitarist, like earlier in the video. The dude with the pauldron was the other guitar player, and the Day of the Dead person, or what I'm assuming looks like the Day of the Dead, was the actual bassist. It's hard with the quality of the video and the lighting of the stage to see the instruments properly. for a song with orchestra in the name, like I feel like this didn't necessarily feel like an orchestra. There was a lot of piano pieces which were cool, but given the thematic kind of presentation, like I think a better name for this might have been like dalliance with death. That has kind of like that 18th century kind of sound to it, kind of vibe to it. But I'm just playing semantics now. This was cool. I like this a lot. I'm focusing a little bit more on the outfits and stuff just because I'm trying to figure out the whole visual kai aspect, like what that means in the culture. Because I know, like, drag's nothing new. Back in the days of old, Willie Shakespeare, Stratford upon Avon over in England, they used to have no female actors, so all the guys would play the female roles and they'd come on stage and drag for the theater. So 500 years ago, 600 years ago, drag was like, it's nothing weird. In America right now, you think, oh, a guy in drag, that's so strange and out of the ordinary. But no, it's been happening for a long, long time. And I'm curious to see what it is or how it's seen in Japan. Because I don't know too much about the culture. I don't know too much about like gender roles or how they view things over there. So I'm always curious when things like this pop up. And it's like a guy dressed as a woman, but it's for entertainment purposes because it's in a venue playing music. I'm just completely unaware of it. So like my mind was going to that throughout like a good portion of the song. Now, the actual music, the slow down pieces with the piano, like made a lot of sense visually with the stuff that they're wearing because they have kind of like an 18th century kind of vibe, a colonial or French, since it's Versailles. Yeah, kind of like French aristocratic kind of vibe to them. So the actual piano playing made a hell of a lot of sense. Like they're in the court for like Louis the 14th or something, which is around 17 mid 1700s, I think, if I remember my history. Yeah, and then them going into like the sort of power metal and like speed metal, like it was kind of like a flawless transition for the most part, and like the singer's voice suits this style so much. The guitarists are both super excellent. Like this feels like a cool concert to go to. I'm wondering if they're still around at all, because this does feel a little older, especially given the grainy quality of this DVD rip. But that could just be the quality of the rip, and not necessarily the DVD itself. But yeah, there was a good translation of what he was saying underneath, but I try not to pay too much attention to the lyrics the first time around. I like seeing how the voice is used as an instrument, and he did a really good job implementing his voice in that way. And theatrically, like his stage presence, that was also like he did a really good job with that. Like he walked around the stage a lot. He wasn't doing too much, but the rest of the band was pretty stationary. So the main focus was always on him. So anytime a member of the band was being highlighted, he walked over to them to sort of suggest or give the suggestion and have the stage lighting highlight the person next to him. So like theatrically and from a presentation aspect, like that was actually really cool and like thought out. And I think I just really enjoyed this. Like the ups and downs, like lots of piano pieces, lots of cool down pieces. The speed portions weren't too lengthy, so like it gave you that like wave functionality that you look for in like a good performance. And the last song I listened to was about a month ago. Excuse me. Uh, Based off of this one, I'm thinking the next one I do, I'm gonna get to a lot sooner. So what's the next song to do? Let me know in the comments.